Hello everyone, this is Sid here and welcome back to another video. Today I'm going to be drawing something different from what I usually draw, so if you'd like to see it then please stay tuned, and without further ado, let's get started. So basically, at my school we love to do plays and musicals, and we're actually doing 5 plays this year. That's like literally crazy because how? It's absolutely insane. But our school has an amazing drama department. So we are going to do 5 shows. And one of those shows that we selected was actually Six the Musical. And if you're not familiar with this musical, it's basically 6 of King Henry's wives. And they're telling the story of how they were divorced, beheaded, and died. And divorced, beheaded, and survived. So we have all 6 of those characters played by amazing, talented young girls. I am not one of them. I did not audition, but that is because I auditioned for a different play, so that'll be really fun. But anyways, today I'm going to be drawing 3 of those characters, the first 3 wives, and then later on, a few days from now, I'm going to be drawing the next 3 characters, the last 3 wives. So, let's begin with Catherine of Aragon. Also, if I pronounce anything wrong, then just please ignore it because I'm not an expert on Old English pronunciation or whatever, so I'm not gonna be 100% accurate on my pronunciation of any of these names, but I have all these amazing facts for you, so you can learn some history while watching some artistic speed paints. So of course, Catherine of Aragon was King Henry's first wife. She was the Princess of Spain, and her birth name was actually Catalina, which is actually very funny because I think that's a type of dressing or something. I'm not exactly sure. I know there's Catalina salad dressing, but she changed her name to Catherine when she moved to England, and she originally moved to England to marry Arthur, who was King Henry's brother, but Arthur died shortly after their marriage. So she was then married to King Henry, Arthur's brother. She married King Henry when she was only 23 years old. So that's actually very, very young. But honestly, I feel like that's older than I would expect. Because in the old times, they used to get married before they were even 20 years old. It was absolutely insane. They were married off at such a young age. But Catherine was very smart. She was well educated and she was taught arithmetic, civil law, religion, theology, literature, genealogy, and heraldry, which is apparently the studying of coats of arms. I'm not exactly sure what the significance for that would be. Oh yeah, your coats of arms is this. But I guess it's just cool trivia. She also learned French, Latin, and Greek, in addition to, of course, her native language, which would have been Spanish if she was from Spain. She was very skilled at sewing, spinning, weaving, lace making, cooking, and she loved to play musical instruments, sing, and dance. And she was also an artist. She loved to draw. So, that's something we have in common. Really cool. Catherine died at the age of 50 years old. Rumor has it that she was poisoned, but many have dismissed this and claimed that cancer was the cause of her death. Of course, she would have been poisoned by King Henry if she was to have been poisoned. Catherine and Henry had the longest marriage of any of Henry's marriages at 24 years. That's 21 years longer than any of the other marriages. None of the other ones lasted more than 3 years, which is actually kind of sad. So you could say that Catherine was the one that he was meant to be with, just in all reality. King Henry divorced from Catherine because she was too old to have children. They had a daughter together named Mary, but King Henry really wanted to have a son so that he could secure the throne. Eventually, all of her pregnancies would either lead to a miscarriage or a stillbirth because of how old she was. Then came the next wife, who was Anne Boleyn, who I think is actually the most famous of all of them. She has the coolest song in the musical, that's for sure. Her song is absolute fire. But Anne Boleyn was arguably single-handedly the cause of the whole entire creation of the Protestant church. So that is really cool. Let's go, dude. Martin Luther, not the one that you're thinking of, made a list of 95 theses, which are also known as complaints, and nailed it onto the door of the Catholic Church in Rome. But no one really cared about this until King Henry made a big deal about it. He, of course, wanted to get divorced from Catherine of Aragon so that he could marry Anne Boleyn. but Catholicism did not allow you to get divorced. So he would have to create a whole entire new church called the Church of England, which was a Protestant church, in order to marry Queen Anne Boleyn and get divorced from Catherine of Aragon. Anne Boleyn learned many skills such as reading, writing, grammar, and history, and she was known for being very good at embroidery, music, and having very good etiquette, manners, and household management skills. She also liked archery, falconry, hunting, and horseback riding. So I guess you could say that she's a little bit more of a tomboy than some of the other wives were. Catherine was too old to have children once again, so Henry sought out Anne Boleyn, who was about 20 years younger than him. Henry and Anne celebrated Catherine's death together, which was pretty interesting, kind of a morbid thing to do. Anne had a daughter named Elizabeth, but King Henry was once again not too pleased that she was a girl, and so one of her handmaidens, Jane Seymour, caught his attention. Henry and Jane began to plot ways to get rid of Anne and accused her of using witchcraft, which, I mean, these days sounds pretty silly because, like, what are the chances that someone's actually a witch unless they go to Hogwarts, you know? But it was a very serious crime back in the day, so people thought that she was very dangerous and did not want her as the queen. She was the queen for exactly 1,000 days before she was executed. Though she died hundreds of years ago, she is still very active and she haunts many castles, including Hever Castle, Hampton Court, the Tower of London, Blickling Hall, and Windsor Castle. She was known for wearing a bee necklace. This necklace was in the Boleyn family for centuries. She passed it down to her daughter Elizabeth after she died, but soon it went missing. So there's a royal mystery to keep you on your feet. Anne's symbol was the falcon, and many TV shows and movies have been made about her, including The Other Boleyn Girl, Anne of a Thousand Days, and Wolf Hall. Many of her descendants are still alive today. Princess Diana was Mary's 13th great-granddaughter, so you can think about the math behind that if you want to. Math doesn't always make sense! And the last one that we're going to be doing today is Jane Seymour, more like Jane Say Less. Zoinks! She was distantly related to Catherine of Aragon and Anne Boleyn. The interesting thing about all these people is that lots of them are actually related to each other. So King Henry just married a bunch of people who all belong to the same family. Let's go! She did not receive as good of an education as Catherine of Aragon or Anne Boleyn did, but she could still read and write, which is good, I guess. You want to have a literate queen. She married King Henry only 11 days after Anne Boleyn was executed, so he did not take that much time in between. Her wedding gift was over 104 manors spread across 4 counties in England, as well as the forest and hunting grounds located on their properties. Jane gave birth to a son named Edward, which is what King Henry always wanted, but she died only 2 weeks after he was born, at the age of 29. She was only the queen for 18 months, and King Henry mourned her loss for 3 months, and didn't remarry until 2 years later, which, I mean, I guess is sort of an accomplishment, if you're such a love-hungry guy like King Henry. Out of all 6 of his wives, Jane was the wife that King Henry was buried alongside, so she was arguably the most loved of King Henry's wives. She was also the only one to receive a royal funeral. So those are all my facts for today. I hope that you learned something about King Henry and his 6 wives, or the 3 of them that I included in this video. There's also a link down below if you want to check out this sheet that I made with all the fun facts on it. I think it's a very interesting collection of fun facts. And there's also a link down below to where I got all this information from, if you'd like to do some research on the 6 wives of King Henry VIII yourself. Remember that the next 3 will be included in the next video, so if you'd like to stay tuned for that, then you can click on the subscribe button, and you will never miss a single upload from me. You will get notified whenever I post a new video, and you will also be supporting me. Whenever you subscribe, it helps to boost my content into the algorithm, so that more people like you can see my videos, and that's always such an amazing thing, because I love to share my artwork with the world. And anyways, I hope that y'all all have a great rest of your day. I will see you in the next video. Always remember that I love you, and goodbye!